Really growing up. Okay, so I'm going to get started. We're going to get started, then people can join as the session goes. But welcome to everyone to our session on monetizing the online space with Amanda Tate Tate. And really excited, personally excited to be having this session. And I'm going to, I suppose, read her bio so that you can actually see why you guys should be excited too. And please do prepare some questions, ask questions. She is a resource. I think a resource is actually a bit of an understatement. But Amanda is a feminist, award-winning tech entrepreneur, TV producer, and author with over 10 years of experience across marketing, brand partnerships, and storytelling that centers women. Certified in gender and media and digital marketing, she's built a career using media and tech to challenge the status quo and open doors for the next generation of women. She's the founder of Multi-Hyphenate Women, a platform on a mission to help women save time and make more money by building visibility driven businesses. Her work supports multi hyphenates, women who do it all, and ensures that they get seen, heard, and paid without burning out. Amanda Amanda's writing has been featured in the Feminist Leadership Journal, Amaka Studio, Black Ballad, Document Women in Her Hands, Africa 80, and more. She's led campaigns for global brands like Volkswagen, Sony, and Sony Music. Her debut novel, At What Age Does My Body Belong to Me, has been studied at Portland State University as part of the Global Feminism and Gender and Sexuality curriculum. So, welcome, Amanda.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Excited to you have the floor. And just as a reminder, guys, please do ask your questions. And also, please ask questions surrounding consistency on the online space because Amanda's been posting every day for the past something number of days, which has been a very impressive number. And I've kind of been following along that journey. So over to you, Amanda.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. So before I dive in, does anyone want to introduce themselves? Tell me what kind of creative that you are. That way I can also tailor my presentation towards your actual business and what you're trying to achieve. So you can just say your name, your type of creative, and like one of your goals online right now. Anybody? No one wants to tell me about themselves. You guys just want me to talk to
Hello,
myself?
how are you? Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you.
This is Isaac from Ethiopia. I'm a
Nice to
documentary
meet you.
photographer. Nice to meet you, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
To tell you a
Yes.
little bit about myself, I'm a documentary photographer based in Ethiopia. Throughout
Mm-hmm.
the years of my work once published in the international exhibition in South Africa, and also I also participated in another collective exhibitions. I've been a documentary photographer almost for 7 years, and I worked with an international organizations. Throughout
Mm-hmm.
this program, I learned a lot that I was looking for a long time. I'm also hoping to get valuable knowledge on this class also. Nice to meet
Mm-hmm.
you. I'm glad to meet you today. Thanks.
Thank you. Do you have any particular goal when it comes to monetizing your work on the online space?
Yeah, I want to sell my photographs. I have
Mm-hmm.
done a lot of personal projects that can be, sold. There for me, they're not only Instagram pictures or social media pictures. They are
Mm-hmm.
art that I made through a lot of sacrifice, financial sacrifice, psychological sacrifice, emotional and also physical sacrifice. So I want to monetize them online. I tried to two pictures of my Adwa. You know, Adwa. We celebrate Adwa, the victory we had over Italy when they tried
Mm,
to colonize us. You know, it's a
mm,
very long story, but we every year we celebrate that victory, that uncolonization is victory. So on that celebration, I took a lot of pictures through for almost 3 to 5 years, and two of my
mm,
pictures are actually online to be sold every time, every year. I get some kind of reward, you know, when they sold. So after
mm,
after seeing that, I started to think of my pictures or my image, not only an art but also a work that can be monetized. So I need a lot of knowledge on that regard, but I also
yeah,
try to do some things on my own, you know. I try to
yeah.
establish them. I have a website. I also have a portfolio. I do that kind of things.
Mm. Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, Isaac. Does anyone else who can do one more person? Okay, if there's no one else, I'll get started. Mhm.
Oh, we
Okay.
had a message in the chat which said, "Hi, I'm Tinashe. I'm a visual artist who specializes in photography based
Mm.
in Harare, Zimbabwe."
Hey, thank you, Tinashe. Nice to meet you. So I always like starting with my bio versus my story. So I just already read you guys my bio, so I'm not gonna go through it again. But basically, my story is I was actually born in Gweru when my family was still based there, and then raised in Harare for most of my life. And I was raised by a single mom. So we didn't have money a lot of the times when 2008 happened. Like I watched a lot of like friends start get skinny, people were hungry. I also had to drop out of school when I was doing O levels. So I learned and finished my O levels at home. I didn't even finish learning the syllabus. Like just in the middle of Form 4 first term, I suddenly had to go home. And from there, I did a bit of my lower six and A levels from home. I ended up writing my exams through the British Council, but essentially like coming from home, ended up going to spaces to just be able to even do the exams and stuff. But basically, my life was a lot of struggling, not having money, carrying buckets, not having water, electricity, like that whole struggle. And when I was young, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if I don't have a degree? I don't really know what my future looks like. And that's where I turned online. I've essentially been doing something online since I was in high school. I've been writing, I started a magazine, I started freelance writing, social media management. I got paid doing as a marketing assistant, then turned into project management as a project officer. Then I became an entrepreneur. I started an online business, and I even got to pitch my online business to um millionaires and investors who wanted to give us like $1 million, which we lost out on because of my passport, because I'm Zimbabwean. And it all came down to sending money back home is volatile. At the time, we also didn't have electricity, we didn't have water. We were actually walking places because, you know, electricity goes for 2 weeks sometimes. At the point, there's a time when literally it went for a month. So we had to walk to someone else's house over 88 kilometers just to go and access their Wi-Fi and be able to run an online business. So I've been in the pit of being a creative and also thinking that, oh my gosh, once I just do this, if I do this one thing, I'll figure it out. And honestly, like I'll say there is no finish line, but there is the skills that you build and the experiences that you build. Because through that, every single one of my experiences, like I built it into a portfolio. I always continued to build my skills to the point that today I have worked with like Sony Music and Volkswagen and brands I never thought that I would work with. I got to grow a community of over 70,000 people and manage projects across 60 countries. And a large part of that was actually working with African creatives and helping African creatives monetize. So through that company, just in 1 year alone, we paid out over $100,000 dollars to African creatives. So when it comes to making money online, like, it is super possible. It's all about also participating, showing up. I got my first real job from a webinar just like this one. There was a teacher who was actually speaking, and I was participating and answering questions and showing up and relationship building, right? Because through this whole creative business studio that Anesu is like curated for you guys. You guys are going to be meeting so many people who you don't know the company they're going to build. You don't know the platform they're going to be selling. They might be the one hiring. They might be the one who's going to commission your next art piece. That relationship building for me at the end of that call, like, I was participating and showing up. I just went to her and I was like, hi, I would really love to be mentored by you. I sent her my blog, my website, and my Instagram, and I literally wrote it down for her. And I was like, I just really love to be mentored by you. And then I left her my email address and my phone number. She called me a week later and said, would you be open to a job opportunity? And I was like, yes, like, I'm at home. I don't have anything that I'm doing right now. And she actually offered me my first job. And it's that I really understood the importance of relationship building early on. And that is the first thing I'll say as you're building your business online. It's not about the art that you're creating. It's not about how talented of a creative you are, because imagine the landscape as everyone is as talented as you or more. Everyone is as experienced in your art as you or more, right? How do you stand out? So how I actually ended up changing my story into my bio is three things. The first one is I changed the ceiling of what was possible. I often talk to a lot of Zimbabweans, and people aspired to a full-time job, maybe paying $300 to $500, right? That's the norm. That's how much people are being paid. And if you're even being paid in USD, you're lucky. So for me, I stayed in a job that paid me $300 a month for so long, but I was overworking. I was spending so much time. I was doing their videography. I was their writer. I was their photographer, jumping over hoops and all of that. And then I went into the NGO space because you think, okay, the ceiling there is much higher. So now you're making like your first 1,000. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And I really celebrated that, right? Because it felt like I'd gone past the ceiling. But at the same time, I've started to realize that that's not all that is possible. There's so much more out there, but it's a lot of times we're not exposed and we don't have access to it. Whereas when you start putting yourself in the rooms, and this is the power of the internet, right? Attending free webinars with people who are making money. Those people were saying they're making 10K a month. Don't just download like the freebie and all of that. Talk to those people, like, create a relationship with those people. Ask them exactly how are you doing it. Be their friend. And I don't mean just go and say, hi, I have my pictures, because I get pitched all the time where people send me their music, they send me their art. But it's like, you're not building a relationship with me. You're not asking about me. You're not paying attention to my life the same way I can pay attention to you. Because when you build a relationship with someone, right, now they will tell you if they discovered last week that if you post your things on this platform and use this specific keyword, you're going to be able to make money. Now you're getting past just what's in the downloadable. You're also getting updates. You're getting what they're testing and failing at. You're getting all of their tactics, like in live and in person. Where I've seen and talked to a lot of artists where they're not patient enough. They're thinking, if I just send my link 5 more times to WhatsApp groups, if I just say bye for me, but like, bye for me does not work online. Relationships do. And relationships start really putting across to you that the ceiling is high, right? My goal now is to make 10K every single month. When we launched our company, literally our company is 3 months old. Our goal, we always said, these are the clients that we're targeting. This is the money that we're taking. This is what is possible for us. And the first month we did, we were able to make 5K for our business. Now, where I used to make $300 a month, now I can make $300 in an hour. And I think that's what, like, you really need to start thinking to yourself, because If you only believe that this is possible, you will be correct. If you believe that the ceiling is much higher, you will be correct. The second thing I did for myself is I equipped, trained, and continue to equip myself every single day. I learn. So I can tell you, I've been spending my time learning how to create AI platforms, learning how to prompt AI. I now know more about AI than most people, right? I go far and beyond just, oh, okay, this is a cool tool. Then I write this thing. Every day I watch podcasts, I watch videos, and I learn about the things that I'm supposed to do. Then the second thing is I take action. So I see that there's two types of people, well, actually three. There's the people who are every single day, they're just like, I'm gonna think about my dream. I'm gonna think and hope and pray and say to God, like, please, can I make more money? But then their actions do not meet their prayer. They're busy praying to make $10,000 a month, but they're pitching people who will pay them $200 a month, right? You're busy praying that I'm gonna sell my art piece, but then you're not learning the skills to make yourself sell those art. So that's the thing for me is like, you need to not just be a person who's like praying or hoping something will happen. You need to learn how to do it, and then you need to take action on that thing. So be quick to experiment. The faster you figure out that this thing doesn't work, the better. But in order to figure that out, you need to do it at the best that thing can be done. So if it is selling your art like on a website, you need to learn about, okay, how do I do keywords? How am I bringing people to my website, right? You need to think about funnels. And that's one of the biggest tools in marketing and building a business online is really understanding your funnels. And this comes from understanding your audience, which goes back to, I just got out there and I talked to people. I cannot understate the importance of relationship building. I have met my clients through relationship building, through being referred. I've met amazing people, ended up giving me money from other people who didn't give me money, because I also don't approach every single call or relationship as a transaction. I always approach it as an opportunity to learn and just build that relationship. So today we're going to be talking about goal setting, treating yourself like a business, what brands and businesses are looking for, where to find opportunities, and then an onboarding process for yourself. So the first thing is, when you're building a winning strategy, right? You need goals, you need types of content and the platform, audience, emotion, and income streams. So when you start to think about goal setting, the first thing is they need to be smart. So instead of saying, I just want to earn more money, you need to set a clear target. I'm going to earn 1,000 in 3 months by pitching to live international brands weekly. That is a plan. Now you know that every single week, you need to be sending those 5 international brands messages. So for you, Isaac, for example, what I would say is, you said that you want to make more money by selling your photographs. Now you need to start thinking, okay, how much do I actually want to make from my photographs every single month? If you want to make, let's say, $1,000 every single month, who are you getting commissioned by? Are they commissioning you for new photographs? Are they going to buy them as art pieces, right? And then you need to think, how many of each of these things do I need to sell to be able to make that goal? And what action every single month do I need to take? Because it's all on you, right? Like, most of the time as a creator, like, no one's coming to save you. So what action do you need to take every single month to be able to sell them? So the answer in the action is, maybe it's posting more content on Instagram. Maybe it's sending cold emails. Maybe it's attending more art shows. Whatever it is, that action needs to be in your goal, because otherwise your goal isn't realistic. It's just a dream. And I think that's like one of the things people really lose out on when they're setting the goals. And then the second thing is audience. We spent a lot of time before we started our business just diving into audience. Because one thing people always say, like, oh, who are you buying from? Anyone. Who are you selling art from? You guys as audience, even though you're all like African, maybe you're like, oh, I want to do Pan-African art and all of this, your audience should still not be the same, right? Are you looking at the audience that can also afford it? So when you're talking about art specifically, now you need to be thinking, okay, I'm possibly looking at curators, so people who curate art for places where they can post them in the gallery. The second audience is Black collectors, right? what type of people are collectors? So you think, okay, maybe it's people who are interested in art from Black people. Typically, these are Black people themselves who are affluent, who are wealthy, wealthy. Now you need to start thinking, okay, so where do these people live? Let's say you've decided maybe your audience is based in European countries, or maybe they're based like in the US, they're pretty affluent, but they have African roots. One of the places that has like a large population of Africans, but in the States is New York, right? So you say, okay, my target audience is a Black collector who's based in New York. They've got income. They probably invest a few $1,000s into buying art pieces. They travel. You start to think about what exactly makes up their emotion. And this is like the key. Why do they buy art? So this is different as well for every single artist. So one of the clients that I actually have currently in our company, right? Her art is actually created based on rest and healing for Black women. And this is important because when we're now actually creating her content strategy, we're thinking about creating videos, newsletters, Instagram posts that are based on rest and healing. We've also found that people buy her art mostly as a gift to other Black women. And this is typically friends, and they're representing joy, they're celebrating, they want to show love. So the other content pieces are actually around that emotion of here's what you want to send to your friend if you want to show them you appreciate them. If you want to celebrate your friend's birthday, here's a creative piece that you can buy from them. So now you're actually also curating any content that you're posting based on that emotion and that action and that time of mental space, right, that your audience is in. So I always like picking these, right? These are YouTube videos. I'm always in YouTube. I love YouTube. And as you see here in the thumbnail, right? He put the emotion exhausted. And when you look at the title, it says, "Why am I always tired? Avoid these 6 energy vampires." Exhausted. If you're doing art piece, right? Maybe it could be how I created this art piece representing the energy vampire, the 5 energy vampires in my life, right? Same thing, but now you're tying it to art. When you're looking at this one here, it says, "Waking up with no new YouTube subscribers, try this." This is also something that he knows that anyone who wants to grow on YouTube is probably waking up every morning and thinking about not growing on YouTube. So what are the things that the buyers of your art are thinking about? What are the things that if you're doing visual design for brands or companies, right? Maybe for them it's our brand isn't clicking, we're not making enough money, or if you're tired of waking up losing sales, or if you're tired of waking up without any new money in your bank account, try this. And then you tie it to why it is important to have a visual designer for your brand. Now you do the video where you're actually showcasing, here is a before picture of Nike's logo. Here's the after. Here's a before picture. Like Apple's logo really surprised me. They literally had like a man on a tree, under a tree or something. That was their first logo. And then when they changed to this, they started making millions of dollars. And this is the beauty of how art can change your life. This is how having a strong brand designer or visual designer can change the face of your company, right? Now it's specific, but you're tying it to emotions and what people are already searching for. And I always put this third example where it says, "I didn't think they'd do it." And it has that picture. If you're like me and you're a nerd and you like tech, right? You know what that is. But if you don't, you don't. And that is also so important when you're thinking about your art and your audience. It needs to feel like you're in a what is it called, like an inside joke. It needs to feel like you're speaking directly to them and only them. It doesn't matter if anyone else doesn't see it. So if you've said, "I'm looking to work with let's say brands that are in the food industry that need a visual designer," and you're only doing something that is specific to food people, now you think, okay, what is something that only food people would know, so that when they see it, they're like, "What?" And then you put something that also drives curiosity for them, right? You're speaking to them. That's what every single piece of content for you, it has to be in mind with that goal of, I am selling to these people. I want these people to commission me, to give me money, and I'm going to speak to their pain points. I'm going to speak to their emotions, and I'm going to create for them in every single way. And everything that lives and breathes in your creative business should be able to serve that all the way up until they actually make you the final payment for you. So in this one, I typically go through income streams, right, of how you can make money online, since almost everyone in here is in photography and or visual design, but I'm guessing is a visual creative. These might not all apply, but a lot of it is like freelance work. So with like the art people that we've worked with, a lot of it is getting commissions, doing live workshops, also being commissioned by government bodies, care spaces, they've been commissioned by brands. Well, they'll actually come in and host a session. So going back into that emotion, it can be like they're doing a healing session for patients, and it's being sponsored by the government, or it's being sponsored by a documentary place, or you're coming to teach other young people how to do photography or how to do visual design, right? Those can be the types of like commissions they can do. Of course, then there's also selling the art. That's like an online product, and then there's sponsorships. So one of the photographers that we worked with through Amaka Studio was posting their work online on Instagram, and they did quite a lot of sponsorships. So what they brought to it was, instead of generic content like the same influencer content, right? They did like stylized, almost documentary kind of pictures with shoes and with fashion and with live. I've also seen one where they were doing a documentary on, I think it's like the original fashion in Nigeria or something like that, right? And then they actually got brands to sponsor that video and get paid to do it. But you're also coming in and you have unique skills that someone who's just an influencer, who's probably just on their phone, doesn't have. You've got also like this unique lens. So I would say when you're thinking about brand partnerships, specifically doing UGC or affiliate marketing where you're pushing things, it's also really interesting to see how you can blend your specific skills into what the business wants, because business wants one thing, they want to make money. So you need to be able to be like, how can I blend my specific creativity into that? So you can do sponsored content, because I have seen it. One of the creatives we work with was being paid like $10,000 a post, right, to do this, and they were an African creative. So it's definitely possible. It's much, much harder. Like, let's be real. It's much, much harder to build as an African. You have so many more hurdles to go through, even just receiving payments. Like, my life was a headache of just like, how do I get PayPal for a very long time? But when you've built it, when you've used strategy, when you're using emotion, when you're putting effort into what exactly is the goal of every single content type that I do, of every single post that I do, what exactly am I trying to achieve? It is possible, and I've seen it. And I'm also building above and beyond it, right? Because like I'm living it right now. I make all of my money online. And then learn how to find opportunities. So the first one is create opportunities for yourself, pitching directly to brands via email, host or attend local events or online events. Any webinar that you see, always go. Like, you lose nothing, especially if you've got time on your hands. Like, attend, meet people, and network with those people. Leverage LinkedIn, optimizing your profile with keywords, and network with decision makers. LinkedIn is powerful. Like, I've gotten every opportunity that ever on LinkedIn, because now you can network with anybody and everybody from all over the world, but you're networking with the key decision makers. So you need to take yourself out of the noise, because a lot of the time you see a lot of people who are looking for jobs, but pay attention to the people that are hiring. And I don't mean go and click easy apply. Leave that alone, right? Go send them connection requests, create a relationship with them. Don't sell, don't pitch directly, like immediately. Just create the relationship with them. Start paying attention to what they're looking for. Go on their Instagrams, go on their YouTubes, what kind of art do they do? What kind of videos do they typically commission? Where are they putting their money and where are they spending their budgets? Because they have budgets, right? And budgets are typically set like far in advance as well. So when you're able to start with building the relationship, by the time the next time they're saying, we need a photographer for this, we need a designer for this, we need a whatever for this, you've created the relationship. You've done the work before you need them. Whereas most people are there in the DMs the day that they need that person and they're like, oh, please give me a job. Like they don't have one to give you at that moment because that's not typically how budgets work. So understand how brands and businesses work, especially if you're trying to work with them. Also understand the seasonal life of your target audience. So when do they spend money on art? When do collectors typically collect? When do commissions happen? So this is things like birthdays, right? You can get all this information on LinkedIn and Facebook, right? You need to be smart about how you're leveraging them. You see that, okay, this person typically commissions art during or before their birthday or their spouse's birthday, especially on Facebook. This information is there, right? People are always soothing. I'm just teaching you how to do it smarter. Go and see, okay, in 2 months, the wife's birthday is coming up. Then when you're sending your pitch, now it's very specific, like, hey, we think this would be a really cute gift. You've already been also talking to this person. So it's not just out of the blue. That's not your first message, by the way. But you're saying, hey, I noticed this. Maybe an art piece could work. These are some of the art that I typically do. Maybe you could commission something. Or, hey, I could come and do a photography session for you guys. Here are some that I've done before. It could be a cute gift. When you see people do congratulations, that's your time to be like, oh, hey, congratulations. I've done this work before. Maybe this could be a good time for you to do it. And then also subscribe to industry newsletters. Unpublished is a good one. Sign up for remote job posts. Collaborate with organizations. So I did put Amago Studio here because when I used to work with them, they used to commission a lot of creatives, right? And they still do. So you can always go and create your profile there, network with the people who still work there and all of that. And also join other community spaces and be present. You lose nothing from talking to people, from introducing yourself, from being able to say the next time that they're hiring or looking for opportunity, like, hey, I'm this person, we met once, we had this short interaction in this call and this webinar and all of this. I see that you're looking to commission an art piece. I think that you'd like mine. And also on creating opportunities for yourself, really document, don't create is such good advice. Whenever you're creating an art piece, these are going viral. Just put a camera down and say, like your phone, it doesn't even have to be fancy. Here's how I made this art piece. Pay attention to hooks. Hooks are the very start of your videos, right? Of your content. You typically need 3 hooks. So you need a sound, you need text, and then you need the visual. So the visual hook can be like moving in and out of camera, just something sudden. And then sound can be you actually adding like a click or a bang, like a door or a ring or something, but like that sound also is a sound hook. And then text on the screen at the same time. Those tend to perform well, especially when you're like showing people this the before or sorry, this the after of the art piece. Be like, let me show you the process now. Essentially. And if you are going to be pitching, so these are the 3 essentials of a winning proposal. So there's 3 types of companies, well, 2 types of companies, but these are the metrics that they're usually looking for. The first one is impact, and then the next one is profit, but they both want reach. So they either want reach and impact, or they want reach and profit. So NGOs, right, international organizations, those people are looking for impact. If you can say, hi, I've worked with these organizations, my art has already impacted over 200,000 people or 20,000 people. When we did my exhibition with Unpublished, we had X amount of people show up. These are the emotions that they shared. They spoke about how my art helped them express themselves for the first time, or it was revolutionary having themselves be represented. When you're talking about you've captured like independence, that is big. That is freedom, right? How do you label it as impact? Like captured the impact of like millions of people gathering to celebrate their freedom from colonization, to celebrate their first walk into freedom. That's impact and that's reach. And then I'll talk about how do we tie it back to then the people who read it. Are you celebrating joy, right? Now you're learning about how to market and like position yourself. This is what is in a winning proposal. It's not just about my art is pretty. People don't buy products, people buy feelings, right? So, how do you paint the picture of how significant this moment was with your words? This is what should be on your website. This is what should be on your Instagram or your social medias when you're really promoting that work. And then the second one is profit. So, these are two separate types of organizations. Sometimes it is the same, where an organization does want profit, but they'll settle for impact. But typically, you can tell just by investigating the organization, like, what are they looking for? So when you're now looking at profit, you need to highlight the potential return on investment. If you've sold something, especially if you're doing brand partnerships or sponsorships online, right? You need to be able to say, they were able to 4x their investment. They were able to make X amount of money. If you haven't been able to do that, like you're still starting out, that's still fine, but you need to show how your reach could turn into profit, right? Say I have a very specific audience of Black curators based in New York, and then okay, this organization is trying to reach Black curators based in New York. Now you can tie that into it because then they can translate and say, oh, that's exactly our target audience. Maybe they're an art gallery and they want more people who love art to attend their shows. Now they'll sponsor you because they can see that the profit would come. So even if you haven't done it before, like still pitch, but you still need to be able to paint that story of, I'm either going to get you impact or I'm going to get you profit, because they're never going to invest in you just because they like you, right? They want to get something out of that. So this is how you win on actually getting those investment proposals and stuff in your business. And then the last one is have a strong onboarding process. I used to be like haphazard about this. I still am, I will say, learning, even as we build our business, but just have everything ready. So now we have a contract template that we have that has payment terms, ownership, usage rights, everything, right? And whenever we onboard a client, we already have the portfolio and website, we show it to them. During the discovery call, we already have kind of like a system of what questions are we asking, what are we looking for. We're also looking to see, are they aligned with what they I want. So for you, if you're looking for people to commission your art, you need to be able to know, how can I get that out of them? How do I know if they're the right audience, right? We've tapped into, my audience is this person, they're based in this place, this is the sort of income they make. Also, yeah, you need to know like how much money do they make so that they can afford your art, right? So during your discovery call, you're asking these questions because you need to know if they're the right type of client for you. Even if they're not, I'm not saying like be rude and be like, you know, you're not my type of client or anything like that, right? But you still need to be able to know that for yourself. One, for you to be able to set boundaries, and two, to be able to communicate to them where they're like, maybe they can afford an art piece and say, oh, okay, maybe I can teach you how to make art instead, right? Now it can be a different type of business contract between you, but you already know and have an idea of how are you actually going to ask those questions and go into like sales. The next thing is like invoicing systems, banking details, making sure you have access to international payment platforms is so important. And then tools for like remote work. We're talking about Zoom, Canva, Google Drive, things like this. You can also use Beacons, is where I built my store currently. It helps you because you can create your link in bio there. People can pay you directly there. So you can actually set up like products and all of that. And like a store, and you can use it for free. So they have like a free tier that you can use completely for free. So that's what I use even for myself and my business, because it automates a part of the business for me. And you can also set up emails that go out. Say someone pays you, maybe it goes out with an automatic contract, with an automatic link to book their first call, that type of thing. So like think of what tools can you use to make your business easier, depending on the business model that you've created for yourself. That's it. Let me know if you guys have any questions.
Thank you for that insightful session. And also just to ask, the platform that you said is called Beacon. How do you spell that?
Let me put it in the chat.
Okay, and while you do that, we have another question from Namkola who says, how do you project profit?
Okay, hey, so do you mean profit for yourself? They still
Um,
here?
okay.
Profit for the client during the pitch. Okay. So when you're thinking of profit for the client, so it depends on your business model, right? So let's say you're saying, okay, I'm going to post this and I have a community of 10,000 followers. Now you need to know typically when you post something, what's your conversion? So you can use links like Bitly for free, where you create a link on Bitly and then actually start to track how many people click whenever you send them somewhere. Link in bio tools can also do this. So when you post on later, let's say you're sending them even to a blog, even to something, on average, are people converting from your content to actually clicking off the website, right? So now you know, okay, how many people are clicking. That's not a purchase entirely, but that's how you can also test that out for free. So now you'll be dividing based on your audience and the amount of clicks that they do. On average, how much money would you be able to make from that? So let's say you have an audience of 1,000 people, 10% of them click. Now you say, okay, from that 10%, that's 100, right? My math is bad. Okay, that's 100 people. 100 people click. If you are estimating maybe that from that 100, only 10 of them actually end up purchasing the product. Now you know they sell a product of $2. They're gonna make $20 off your post. If they sell a product of $10, they're gonna make $100 off your post. If they sell a product of $50, etc. So now you can calculate. When you're actually now doing posts for actual clients, you can also test it out with affiliate links, right? You can do some free posts. So a lot of platforms have affiliate links that you can just use to promote that platform. And then see, when you talk about, let's say you use Notion to plan your system for your content, when you talk about Notion, how many people are actually going and clicking, how much money have you been able to make from the affiliate links? So it's all about starting to test it out, and then you'll be able to accurately tell the client. But before you do, as I said, like before you have any of that data, what you can just start with is, this is how many people I have, this is the type of engagement that I get. I can help drive engagement to you. And then they'll be able to see, okay, is that engagement um worth it for us? Because when you're selling someone else's product, it's not fully on you. Because let's say you get them 20,000 people to go to their website, but their website isn't optimized and then they don't end up buying. It's not fully your fault on that side. So they also need to have their end of the bargain of like, are they optimized for sales on the back end, and what does their funnel look like? But if you're trying to sell your own products, then you need to actually know that information of, what's my funnel? What happens when they click? Is my website matching up with what's on the posts? Do I have a process to capture people? Let's say they're not ready to buy. Do I have an email list? When they join my email list, is there a sequence going out? Do I welcome them into my email list? And when I welcome them, how do I nurture them so that even if they're not buying today, maybe they're going to buy from me a month later?
Okay, we have a follow-up, which is, so as an influencer, but going on to Bontu's question as well, do you think hiring a
Hmm.
manager is a good thing if we want to focus on the creative part since we are creatives, so they can handle the business and logistics side and others? In other words, how do you not wear so many hats?
I would say it depends on what stage of your business that you are in. And it also depends on the manager. So I've talked to a lot of creatives who have gotten a manager and they regretted it. And then there's some who are like very happy they get the good ones. Because when you get a manager, they have a roster, right? So let's say they have 10 other creatives. Then they have one creative who's performing the best and they're bringing in most of the money because that's how they're making their money, right? They start paying attention to getting more work for that one client. And then you get left on the wayside where you're not pushing yourself, they're not pushing you. And then when you get your own clients, which happens sometimes, right? You are sort of like doing the work, but you're still contractually giving them money, and it's like, maybe they came in and finished the negotiation, but like you're actually doing the active work of finding your own. So I'll say it depends on what stage you're at. Like if you established it, you're getting steady income and you want to increase your income, it might be a good idea. It might be time to bring on someone. But I wouldn't say do it in your early days because then you can't be selective about who manages you. And who manages you is so important because this is a financial relationship. And this is a relationship where you also need to have good faith that they're negotiating on your behalf with your best interests in mind. And to answer the question of, so as an influencer, so I was speaking both as if I won't say influencing specifically, but I would say using your art in a way to influence and do products, which I've seen other people do, which is very different to, you're not going and modeling. Let's say like you're selling lotion or beauty products, right? You're not going and modeling the beauty products, but you're taking photographs of it. For example, you're showing it in a short film, in a short cinematic, right? Because with creatives, I would say I would separate them a little bit, but the mechanics are the same. Because understand, like product placement started in film, they didn't start in the online world. So you can still do and treat your creative business with product placement in mind. That's why we see like BMW sometimes, or a Benz or a Tesla in movies, right? They pay to be there. Apple, when they do product placement, only heroes will ever hold product placement. They don't allow contractually for villains to hold their phone. So you as a creative, if you're creating a documentary, you can create it and have iPads be getting used throughout your documentary, right? It's not technically influencing, but it's using the same kind of metrics because you still need to pitch. You still need to go and be like, this is how you get your money back. My documentary is going to be seen by XYZ people. Maybe you're going to fly to the Durban Film Festival or you're going to take it to Thailand. I don't know, right? You're still pitching and saying, we're going to get this much reach for you. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to showcase it in my creative in this way. The how, you can be fully as creative as possible. That's like the beauty, but how companies approach these relationships are very similar.
Okay, and I suppose the follow-up on that would be you mentioned metrics that influencers would use and that creatives here would essentially need to be thinking about those even as just visual artists. What are some metrics that you find a lot of people overlook and don't actually include in their pitches or in their portfolios and all of that?
I would say the most important is engagement rate across platforms. That's what people are looking for. So what is it called? Your click-through rate is very important as well. So click-through rate is different on YouTube where it's actually how many people click into your video for when they see your thumbnail, but I'm also meaning your clicks to your website. So if people come, they see a piece of content, are they actually going to the thing you want them to buy? Right. So think about that. But before you have that engagement rate, if you can at least know your engagement rate and your reach, then you have. I don't mention reach and followers because most people like always have that on lock, but people don't know of their followers how many people are actually engaging, because that's what actually they're paying for, because they're taking a bit that if we pay you 20% of this number is going to see our content and engage with it, and that's where the money is. And when you're then looking into bigger productions, documentaries, TV and all of that, right? Numbers matter more in terms of like the reach. Where is it being flighted? What's your distribution plan? We once sponsored a documentary. So in their pitch, they actually had a journey of, we're gonna be doing film screenings in this place, this place, this place, this place, this place. At each place, we're gonna be having this many attendees. They also showcased exactly how they would be plugging the brand in at the film screenings, right? Then they said, at this one, we're gonna have this many attendees. We're gonna be able to integrate you. Are you integrating them as a panel? Are you doing games that feature the brand? Are you singing or dancing brand? Like, I don't like, the creative part is literally up to you, right? But you need to be able to show them, if it's in person at this place and this is in this place, we're going to be showcasing you. This is how we do it. And think beyond, we'll go and we'll put your logo, or we'll go and put your, what is it called, your banner, because that's how most people do at events. Really say, we'll build a whole session around your brand. Like, people don't know how to use AI, maybe, like, so we're going to use your phone. If it was a phone, we're going to use your phone to be able to showcase how people use ChatGPT. This is how you could pitch like G-Tide in Zimbabwe, and say, let's do an event with G-Tide. At every event, we're going to have like an AI booth where people talk to ChatGPT on G-Tide, because you're using something people are interested in, but you're using the G-Tide phone, right? It's like the creativity is really like open wide, but it's those same things.
That is interesting, and I think you've given people a few ideas on how to actually go and pitch, or ideas to pitch to some brands. Because within the group we do have a lot of photographers, but a lot of photographers that are also filmmakers and are into film. And just I suppose with Bontu's question about whether you should get a manager that you can create. In the slides that you had, you mentioned some of the tools that you had on there, which were, that you need to have invoicing tools, you need to have Google Drive, Canva, and so forth. Are you able to just like share how those tools have helped you manage your business better? Especially, I suppose, as a solo founder, then as a co-founder, then, maintaining a lean model, because I think that will kind of help with that aspect.
Yeah. I would say like then versus now. Now I use AI a lot. I am very much automate everything with AI. If you have money, even better. So that money you're going to go and give a manager, like get yourself Zapier. So Zapier actually lets you set up automations. For example, let's say you're receiving leads in a Google form, right? Now you can set up an automation that says, once someone fills in this Google form, take that email and the information they've sent, send it to ChatGPT. Get ChatGPT to write me an email. Send that email that's now personalized. The next zap is maybe after the email has been sent, notify me on WhatsApp. So now you're not even going to go check, right? So now on WhatsApp, you're getting a little text saying, hi, email to this person has been sent. Maybe they've been added to your community, or this purchase has happened, right? You're receiving that on WhatsApp. Maybe you even automate and say, ChatGPT should write the exact date of delivery for you, what the brief of the commission is, what they require from their picture or their art piece, whatever, right? Like, AI is wonderful. And I would say most people are looking at it just as, I'm going to be talking on my phone, I'm going to have conversations, but like really think about, it can make your business super easy. It can make and streamline processes for you. It takes a lot of time to learn. I'm not gonna say like, you just wake up and you know it all. But like once you invest the time, you save money later on, because traditionally you're gonna have to hire an assistant, you're gonna have to hire someone to go do messages for you, someone to be your social media management. Now you can build agents that do that. You can have this one running and this one running. But before we build the AI layer, definitely like I use Canva for just about any design work, any quick things. Canva also has bulk create, right? It's this like little button in Canva that a lot of people don't know about that saves me so much time. You just have one template, and let's say you want to do, right now I'm doing a reframe challenge where every single day I'm posting one thought that my target audience has, which is multi-ethnic women. So things about I am too scared to charge, or how do I think about like I undervaluing myself, things about being tired, picking a niche, running too many things in the background, burnout, right? Like I know my audience and the things that are in their head. I am them. So I just wrote all of those things into a table, and then I uploaded it onto Canva, used bulk create. It created 90 graphics for me. Now I had 90 graphics that were written by ChatGPT. I trained it to speak in my voice and my tone, to understand me, to understand my target audience. Now I had 90 posts. Now they're scheduled. Every single day I have a piece of content, right? Like you were asking, I think you mentioned consistency the other time. Like play the easy game, not the hard game. And this is all like in investing in knowing what these tools do, because a lot of them are so powerful. And I also use Notion for planning. I used to plan in a Google Sheet, but now I've moved to Notion. But like when you're starting out, Google Sheets is fine. Just like what are your content types, content pillars, any ideas, put it in one place. Anything that needs to be scheduled, be very clear with yourself what needs to be done on what day. That's how we were laughing before we joined this, that I had a day that started at 4 a.m. and has been continuing, and it's going to continue beyond this call, right? That's how I manage all of that, because it's just like, here's a task list, here's what needs to be done. It's streamlined. I've got a trained GPT that I'm going into, and I'm like, okay, this is our next task. Help me out. And it speaks in my voice already. I use prompts that like have trained it to be like, this is what I don't do. I don't use emojis. I don't use these specific words, like that type of thing. But yeah, it's made life so fast and manageable for me. Thank you, Monty.
That's so great. I'm curious to know though, like how long has it taken you to train the ChatGPT? And I know that actually for everyone in the room, that is a service that she is now offering, and that multi-hyphenate women like are offering, assisting with training ChatGPT, so that it does help you with producing bulk content. But how long did
Yeah.
it take you to kind of train it? And I know you're talking about how you like to learn a lot, so you're obviously like within.
I will tell you. So I'm gonna just share my screen. Let me just open it first. Um, the easy version I did, where I'll say just start something you can do after this call tonight. Is what I'll show you first. How do I? There. Okay. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I would say step one. Mm, oh, okay, there. Suddenly forgot. So this is what you can go in and do tonight. The first thing I did, where it says what traits should your GPT have, I put writing style, use simple, direct language, a 10-year-old could understand, maintain a conversational tone throughout, things like avoiding cliche jargon, vary sentence length and structure. This is like the number one thing where ChatGPT will have like the exact same sentence length and all that. Use examples, analogies, data, pro tips, fun facts, da 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 da. I told it exactly what avoid including the M dash, because everyone is obsessed with like an M dash and section headers, long drawn out explanations, whatever. Do not rewrite me. So I've also told it, always keep my voice intact as much as possible, use the language and words that I use and improve on it, maintain my cultural expressions and speaking style. So this is also very important because it can over edit you to the point where you don't sound like you, right? And it's not going to get everything perfect, but also like I put proofread, ensure the content is original and not plagiarized, ensure you never lie, and simply say you don't know or data unavailable if you're not sure, because it hallucinates as well. So I need to make sure my content is correct. And then ask me clarifying questions until you're 95% confident you can complete the tasks successfully. Take a deep breath, take it step by step. Do not lie or make it up, because this is something that I was like, I wanted to really search up. And then remember to search the internet to retrieve up-to-date information. If you don't know or are not clear on something, do not lie, make it up, just let me know or ask for more clarification. So this is like something you can always add. And anything else, I said, have a distinct POV, research Amanda Marufo and Amanda Tayte Tait, and learn to write in her voice. So this is something you can go in and basically set up so that you have a place to start. This is something you can do. It's free. Anyone can do it. So that was, I would say, a step one of making a GPT smarter. In terms of how long it took for me to train my GPT, let me just move you guys over here. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. So you can see, so these are like a few of the ones like we've been creating, right? And here is mine. I'm gonna show you guys the back end. No, hit it. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. I have a longer instruction here. Who it is trained like me, the things I wanted to know, what to avoid, like literally all of this is like training data. And then on top of that, these are all specific instructions and data sets that I've had to create. So the thing about AI is it needs data, right? So when we're working with a client, we do a range of onboarding calls where we actually just get them to speak for hours. We want them to speak in their voice because that's how accurate, like that's how it gets more and more accurate. So I'm lucky, I'm an author. I fitted my book, I fitted my second book outline. And then the other training comes in, like I have 10 years of marketing experience. I have all of this knowledge. So we literally created content agent instructions, how to write good sales copy, clarity. These are like visual content prompts. Zuri is our agent's name. So we also like would say paid ad protocol, email conversion protocol, framework intelligence. So we use frameworks like PAS, which is like problem, agitate, solve. We've trained it on what exactly performs in terms of content. We have what performs in terms of YouTube writing content, LinkedIn content manual. Each document is maybe like 40 to 60 pages, going really deep with examples of high performing LinkedIn posts, with examples of like what's working. And then we also have a boundary file, which is essentially, this is how you're not supposed to do. This is like, don't use jargon. We put like the most overused mixes of what AI does. So what takes a lot of time is training it and learning how to train it. How do you phrase your prompts? Getting really, really good at being a prompt engineer. So you know the thought process. Most people think of AI as like, this is an oracle, right? I'm just gonna go and it's gonna produce. And then you get frustrated and people fight the AI because you're like, no, but I told you to do this. And it's like, it's not doing it. Like, why isn't it doing it? So what we've spent a lot of time doing is learning how to speak to AI, how to teach it, how to train it. What are the words and frameworks to teach it on? And then when we're building on the client, we always say it's human-led AI. It's built with the strategies I have inside of my head. So like a lot of the things I'm teaching you guys, right? But like there's more. If you tell me specifically your business, I can then dive into you and how I can help you specifically. And that's what we're training our AI systems and content to do. And then we're gonna add the layer of getting them to do actions. Then they solve your problems. So now when you're like, okay, we're gonna pay you guys, we'll be able to train the AI for you, train it to also go out and do leads and sales and close deals for you. So that now you're just making your art and like we're helping you run your business. We also create the website, the funnels, the whole marketing shebang. But yeah, so that's what like takes a lot of time. But you can always get started with just putting a prompt that it has exactly what you're trying to do. That's your step one. And then everything else, spend time thinking about what would make the best content agent for you or the best sales agent or launch agent or offer agent, whatever it is that you need. And if you don't have time, but you got money, then you hire me.
Thank you. Thank you for that and for taking us through the back end of your chat GPT as well. I think a lot of us learned. And we'll be working on that during the course of the week as well. So thank you for coming through to Creative Business Studio. We were waiting for you and definitely worth the wait because we're in week 5 now. And I'm sure that everyone drew a lot from the session. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for having me.
Oh, pleasure.